メジャー翻訳速報。ドジャースの春季キャンプが本格的に始動し、日本開幕戦に向けて山本由伸投手と佐々木朗希投手の起用法が明らかになってきました。一方、大谷翔平選手は5月の投手復帰に向けて慎重な調整を進めています。現地で注目を集める日本人選手たちの最新情報を現地メディアの様子とともにお届けしていきます。面白いと思っていただけたらチャンネル登録と高評価をよろしくお願いいたします。
Spring training rolls on with day 3 of Dodgers camp from Camelback Ranch. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers. I'm John Hartung with Cactus League play. Now just 8 days away, pitchers and catchers have ramped up as we head toward game action in Arizona. Perhaps the biggest intrigue comes from a man who did not throw a single pitch in 2024. The reigning NL MVP working his way back to his two-way superstardom. We'll hear from Shohei Ohtani and his skipper on the journey back to the mound. Plus, Shohei's countryman, Roki Sasaki, threw his first spring bullpen today. We'll break down everything you need to know, and we'll hear from the highly touted prospect. Plus, you can count on Austin Barnes as one of his fans. And it's official, fan favorites. Kike Hernandez back in Dodger blue as if there was any doubt this was the only place the October hero wanted to be. All that and more from day 3 of camp on Access Sportsnet Dodgers. Let's go. And we welcome you inside our Sportsnet LA studios, joined tonight by Jerry Hairston Jr., the real DV, David Vassay. And gentlemen, I guess we can say that spring training is officially here all across baseball, because Major League or MLB Network, Jerry, this morning was saying it felt like a holiday because everybody was in camp.
Yeah, that's not true. Listen, we're all excited. Listen, if we're going to talk about a holiday or a special day, it's opening day. There's nothing like opening day. We're all excited that the pitchers and catchers are reporting because we're that much closer to that holiday, opening day.
Hey, it feels like Christmas every day that I'm with Jerry Hairston Jr.
Okay, would you stop? I mean, it's way too early in the show for that, but let's get right to it, because for the first time at Camelback Ranch, the skipper and the MVP spoke with the media today, and the topic of the day was all about Shohei Ohtani.
He's progressing. He's going through his progression. I don't know when his first bullpen for us is. I don't, like I've said before, he's not going to pitch in Tokyo. He's excited to pitch. I don't know when he's going to pitch for us this year. It'll be sooner than later. But that's all contingent on, when he's throwing pens and facing hitters, and there's not going to be a rehab involved, because obviously we need him to be active on our roster to take at bats. But that's sort of about it right now. I'm as excited and curious as you guys all are.
In the past, he's gone once every 6-7 days. Might you guys kind of extend that the window between starts for him?
I think that's about it. I think that's kind of the 6 or 7 days, because there's also off days too that we're going to have to contend with. So I think that's fair, and I think the main thing is, once we start, we want to keep going. And that's, I think, important to Shohei, instead of having a respite or a stop in the middle of the season.
Expect Shohei to throw in any Cactus League games? Is that part of the plan at all?
I don't think so. Like most things, that could change, but I think standing here today, I don't expect that.
ピッチングはいいと思います。今日寒かったですけど、ある程度出力というか強いボール投げれたので、そこは今日は満足してます。はい。
Very satisfied overall with my throwing. Was able to throw with pretty good intensity. It was a little cold today, but I was able to get my work done.
How soon are you hoping to start throwing bullpens?
いつブルペン投げ始めますか？
今週入ると思います。今週末ですかね。まだそんなに強く投げるかわからないですけど、傾斜を使って投げる感じはするかなと思ってます。
Sometime this weekend, it's going to be more about touching the slope. Not sure what my intensity is going to be.
Are you mixing in breaking balls on flat ground? Are you mixing in breaking balls on flat ground or something like that, or is it just fastballs?
変化球は今日スイーパー初めて投げましたけど、それ以外の球種は今までも投げてたので、ブルペンでどの程度投げるかちょっとまっすぐの出来次第になるかなと思います。
Threw my sweeper for the first time on the flat ground today, but aside from that, all my pitches I've been throwing on flat ground. In terms of the bullpen, just going to depend on how my fastball feels.
All right, perhaps in May, we will see Shohei back on the mound for the first time as a Dodger. In his 86 career starts, 38-19, ERA just over 3, a 1.08 whip, 608 strikeouts, 173 walks. That's a 3.5 strikeout to walk ratio. In 2022 with the Angels, Shohei was second in AL MVP voting and fourth in the Cy Young voting. It is an unprecedented situation because any other pitcher coming back after missing more than a year due to an injury, DV, they'd be going to the minors, make several rehab starts. But the Dodgers, obviously, they need his bat in the lineup here in the big league, so it will be a unique path to get him back on the mound.
It really will be, but it's not like it hasn't happened with the Angels. Obviously, a second Tommy John surgery is more serious than just having your first one, but he's done this before. He's even played through a tear in his elbow, hitting as a DH, so I know it's new for Dodger fans, but it's not new to Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, certainly, he, like David just touched on it, he has experience and he's done this before, so he knows what he wants to do and maybe not what he wants to do from his experience last time. But let's make no mistake about it. This is a unique situation because he is incredible at the plate. And I just saw his record career-wise, 38-19. Those Angel teams weren't that great. Let's be real. For him to be that dominant on that team, boy, he's going to have a chance to have some pretty good run support with this Dodgers and improve on those marks.
And there were times with the Angels where he would tell management, hey, I got to be scratched from this upcoming start because he was fatigued or maybe extended himself in a game where he pitched and he had a great game as a DH. So there were times where he said, I need a respite. So expect that at some point this year, too.
And there's nothing wrong with him, especially like we're slow playing. This is exactly what we need to do. Slow him. Play him like we did Walker Buehler last year, but also skip him a start to make sure he stays fresh. Listen, him being on base all the time, hitting all those home runs, that's tiring in of itself. Now you're asking him to go out there and pitch every 6th day or so, 7, 8 innings, because he is an ace pitcher. So you got to monitor the situation, make sure he's strong in the second half.
And Dave Roberts even said that today, that they'll probably get more days off for him during the regular season because he is now doing double duty. But Shohei hasn't pitched in a game since August of 2023. So if he comes back in May, that means it will have been 21 months between starts. And Dave Roberts says Shohei will not pitch in a Cactus League game, won't make a minor league rehab start. So, Jerry, are simulated games or live BPs, is that really enough to get him back to where he wants to be when he comes back on the mound in a big league game?
He knows himself. You know, kind of like Clayton Kershaw. Kersh hated those rehab starts. He fought tooth and nail because he said, this is not the big leagues. Shohei Ohtani knows himself, knows exactly what he needs to do to be ready on the big stage. So if those simulated games is what he needs to get himself ready to go, I trust him. He's been doing this a long time. Nobody knows him like he knows him. So again, I trust him. I will give him the benefit of the doubt.
And if you think about those first handful of starts that he starts for the Dodgers, I guess it goes back to him being such an out-of-this-world pitcher, player, however you want to describe him. 70% of that Shohei Ohtani on the mound is better than some pitchers at 100%. So I don't believe there'll be any issues.
All right, well, news about Shohei Ohtani wasn't all that we learned from Dave Roberts today in his first media scrum of the spring. The skipper also had updates on players who are returning from injuries.
It's going to be interesting. I think that there's guys that are certainly not built up as we would expect. There are some guys that are behind as far as from last year.
Is Evan Phillips one of those guys who's behind schedule?
He's a little bit behind, yeah. Obviously, last year in the World Series, he wasn't active. And so just given kind of how we've used him and the workload. So right now, he's on a throwing program. I think he's still going to go through PFPs, but just manage his throwing. So he's behind, yes.
There are other guys who are notably behind schedule?
There's some other guys. I think that there was a little bit of, talk with Kopech, and just there's a handful of guys that were just kind of, they're just a little bit behind. But again, we have a lot of depth, and their health and how we build them up methodically is very important.
So I saw that you mentioned that Sasaki and Yamamoto will both be pitching in Japan. Is the plan for them to start each starter game? Might you use them in relief? Might they be throwing in exhibition games? You know what the...
I'm going to kind of hold on to that a little bit, but I do know that I think it's fair to say that Yamamoto is going to pitch that home opener, or that first one. And then with Roki, just kind of, obviously, like I said, the plan is for him to pitch there. We'll kind of figure out when. And it's a lot of it is more contingent in the unknown of how he responds to spring training and his build-up. And we just want to make sure that he's in a good position and feels good about, when he pitches. So I don't want to put him in a box right now.
Could it be like in one of those exhibition games, or is the plan?
It could be. I think everything's on the table, but I think it's pretty fair to say it would be to pitch in, the second game of the season. But if it doesn't line up, then it doesn't line up.
Would you, given like his history of injuries and stuff, be any more reluctant to use him out of the pen?
Yes.
Like in a game? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if he pitches, it's probably going to be as a starter.
Absolutely.
And with the Dodgers opening up the season in Japan, we heard Dave Roberts say it looks like it's going to be Yoshi as the opening day starter in Tokyo. And Roki likely gets the ball in game 2 if all goes well this spring, Jerry. If that is the way it lines up, what a thrill for those two guys and all of the fans in Japan to see both of these guys come back home and starting in a major league game.
I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be epic there in Japan. We all know how much that country loves baseball, but to have two of their countrymen go out there and represent the Dodgers there in Japan, the whole world's going to be watching. I know Yamamoto's excited. Sasaki, his first big league starts in Japan, very familiar with that ballpark as well. I think that's going to be beneficial as well.
And to add to the billboard at the Tokyo Dome, we very well may have two Japanese pitchers start opening day. Shota Imanaga for the Cubs and Yoshi Yamamoto for the Dodgers. This is what everybody wants, right? That you hope that it lines up this way. But if Sasaki does start there, that doesn't necessarily mean when the Dodgers come back to North America, he's going to make starts every 5th or 6th day. He barely pitched last year in Japan with some shoulder issues and getting ready to come to Major League Baseball. So there's a chance that you see Sasaki maybe once every 6 days, maybe once every 10 days, because the Dodgers are slow playing this, as you know, Jerry, not just for 2025, but for the next 6 years.
And I have a feeling Blake Snell would probably get the ball, after the Japan series back here at Dodger Stadium. I think he gets the ball, that third starter, but he's definitely an ace. Listen, it's a great luxury. We have so many aces on board.
Yes, we do. And for the first time, the Dodgers did acknowledge that Michael Kopech dealing with arm inflammation, likely to begin the season on the IL. And same for Evan Phillips. He's got that partially torn rotator cuff that he suffered during the NLCS. Loaded bullpen. It's going to be able to cover huge for these guys, DV. But both of those guys, we know down the road, both Evan Phillips and Michael Kopech, they'll be a big part of what do the Dodgers do this year.
I was a little concerned about Evan Phillips because he had a shoulder issue last year off the World Series roster. They don't just go away. And when I talked to him at Dodger Fest, he said he was well behind where he usually is at this point in his throwing program. And then we find out he has a torn rotator cuff. Those things don't just get put back together with rest. It just continually tears. To what extent depends on the person. So that's concerning. Michael Kopech seems a little less concerning.
Well, here's the thing. With Evan Phillips, there's ways you can rehab that shoulder to really strengthen, and hopefully he gets enough blood in that area so he is able to have it strong enough to go out there and do his thing. Remember, Kopech, Phillips, really all our guys that pitched in the postseason were heavily taxed. There's a reason why we went out and made sure we got Blake Snell. We made sure we got Roki Sasaki because we needed these starters to pitch deeper in the ball game so our bullpen won't be as taxed. And also getting Tanner Scott, healthy Tanner Scott, to be our closer as well. So listen, you got to make sure guys like Evan Phillips, Kopech, make sure they're healthy. Whether it takes a month from now, 2 months from now, doesn't matter. We have enough to hold down the fort.
And definitely will not rush either one of those guys. They will come back as soon as they are 100%. Still much more to come. For the first time, we saw Roki Sasaki on a mound in Dodger blue, throwing his first bullpen of the spring today. We'll discuss the expectations for Roki in year 1. Plus, the Blake train is now a 2-seater because Blake Trinan joins this year by Blake Snell. Both guys throwing bullpens today and both ready to dominate in 2025. This tweet from Chris Kirshner, who covers the Yankees for The Athletic, on if Yankees manager Aaron Boone took the Dodgers post-World Series comments personally. Yes, it's probably a little bit. I don't like hearing that, but the reality is we didn't play our best in the series, and they won. They have that right to say whatever. Hopefully we're in that position next year and handle things with a little more class. I'm sure all of us had some reaction when we saw the headlines from Aaron Boone's comments. DV, you requested to our producers that we talk about this on the show, so you have the floor first.
Well, number one, Aaron Boone, it's a reflection on you how your players never were out there for early infield practice. I mean, that's a reflection on him to not have those players out there. The Dodgers were out there every single day before the World Series, have been out there every single day before every game this year. So that's a reflection on him, and the difference in the World Series was defense, base running, and the little things. So, you know, if he's going to get upset over Joe Kelly saying things, or Chris Taylor or Miguel Rojas, you know, he's right. Scoreboard, baby.
Well, I'll tell you what, to be honest with you, I'm going to take a little different approach. I love it. I want this. I want the Yankees to hate the Dodgers hate the Yankees. I want to see both these teams back in the World Series and the Dodgers winning again against the New York Yankees. Baseball needs this. I don't like sports where everybody's so buddy-buddy and let's team up and you're my best friend. And no, man, this is professional sports. MLB, NBA, NFL, we're coming after you. We're going to win. That's what type of stuff we need. We always go back in the 80s and 90s when teams and players hated each other. I love the fact that Aaron Boone is letting us know. And on the flip side, hey, we are letting them know a little bit. So I think it's great for the game of baseball. And you need this. You need players, managers, going back and forth.
Are we really going to judge all these guys because they were just coming off of a parade, a rally? They went to Mookie's house. They had some cocktails. We're really going to judge some guys because they were in
some cocktail
celebration mode?
The only issue is the guys that were trash talking had zero impact on the outcome of the World Series.
All right, well, we'll see the Yankees on the field at some point in the next few months. Up next, some final thoughts and more on the Camelback Ranch first steps of 2025 as Cactus League play begins next week. Day 4 from Camelback Ranch is tomorrow. Baseball activities underway in Arizona. We will be here every weekday to cover the news from the World Series champions. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Access Sportsnet Dodgers. The three of us will be here. Kirsten will be in Arizona, and maybe tomorrow we will hear from Clayton Kershaw. That is tomorrow, 6 p.m. right here on Sportsnet LA. DV, 1 week from tomorrow, Cactus League play begins. Are you excited to see some actual baseball competition on the field?
No doubt about it. Everybody's feeling great, especially when you're the defending World Series champions with a lot of class.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, listen, spring training is fun. It's fun for the fans. They're up close and personal with their baseball heroes. So once the games really start, that's when the fun begins. Can't wait to be out there.
Kind of a condensed schedule because the full squad won't be reporting until this week, and they'll have about 4 days to get ready before that first Cactus League game. And as Jerry says, they'll show up ready to go.
Doggone right.
All right, for Kirsten, Jerry, and DV, I'm John. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's do it again tomorrow. What do you say? 6 o'clock right here.
Yes.
One more time.
On Sportsnet LA.
メジャー翻訳速報。ドジャースの開幕に向けた布陣が徐々に明らかになってきました。東京での開幕戦に山本由伸、第2戦には佐々木朗希が先発を務める予定とのことで、日本のファンにとって最高の舞台が用意されることになりました。ただ、マイケル・コペックとエヴァン・フィリップスの離脱が気がかりです。特にフィリップスのローテーターカフ損傷は要注意。チームとしては慎重な調整を進めていく必要があるでしょう。皆様のご意見やご感想をぜひコメント欄でお聞かせください。では次回の動画でお会いしましょう。ご視聴ありがとうございました。